Hello and welcome to LA Currents. I'm Anita Bennett. When we hear the words domestic violence, many people think it can't happen to me. Well, it actually happens more often than you think, but there are places you can turn for help. One such place is the EastLAWomen'sCenter. Let's talk about the services that you offer. How do you help domestic violence survivors?
We provide counseling services regardless if they're currently in the situation of domestic violence or if they have a history of it, as well as sexual assault. So a lot of times you have survivors who maybe didn't deal with the problems, they went through life afterwards with sexual assault or human trafficking or domestic violence happening with them. And then, all of a sudden an extra trauma happens to them later on in their life. And then that's when everything comes up. We have group supports also. We have our outreach component, which a healthcare navigation, especially with HIV and AIDS, and a lot of our youth program with prevention as well.
We also respond immediately after a sexual assault has been reported. Sometimes it's the police department that reaches out to us. Sometimes it's the hospital. Community members will refer people, and then unfortunately, we've been around for 47 years. Unfortunately, word of mouth is one of our biggest ways of coming into contact with different community members. And then of course our promotoras. They bring a lot of the foot traffic into the organization as well.
Part of the job that we do as a East Los Angeles Women's Center is looking at a very holistic approach, trying to pinpoint what is the need. So we tailor make it to whatever their wellness path and their healing journey looks like. 1 in 4 women are facing this. Statistically, sometimes it says 1 in 2 women, depending on what you're looking. Is it the physical, is it domestic violence, is it sexual assault and domestic violence? So a lot of them kind of intersect. So when you start looking at statistics, it's usually 1 in 3 women, 1 in 2 women. The other part of it is usually statistics tend to be about 3 years back.
Oh.
So that's another problem that we see when we're trying to gather these numbers, is that by the time we're already in 2023 and 2020 was going on, those numbers are probably higher at that point. But with Latinas specifically, we see that 1 in 3 are the ones that are affected with this, have seen some sort of domestic violence or victimization in their lifetime. So for us, it's really important to be going out to the community and engaging and letting them know the different aspects of domestic violence as well.
What we know for sure is that those numbers are underreported. Through our work, every day we meet individuals who say, I suffered a lifetime and never told anybody. So these numbers are official numbers that come through the different institutions, right? But they're not, I don't know that they're so much reflective of what the community really looks like. I truly believe that those numbers, just based on our own experience, are much higher than what
I would like to add
higher than 1 in 3?
Yeah,
right.
I would like to add the fact that a lot of, especially, working within our communities that we work with, the systems that are out there sometimes are not the ones that our community goes forthcoming and telling them their story. So most of the times it's outside of that system. So we're not quantifying the numbers there. You're talking about, a friend telling another friend, for us in Spanish, it's a comadre talking to another comadre about what is going on. Those numbers are not going to reflect when you look at actual statistics and being tallied. So that is the reason why, we're seeing that these numbers are a lot higher than anything else. And that's kind of heartbreaking, because already you're seeing 1 in 3.
Right. Yeah.
And it's really sad. And it takes about 6 to 7 times for a person even to leave. And that's just what's been also statistically seen. Sometimes it's a lot higher, or, because of the way sometimes the story ends at the end.
Going back to your original question, our community, the Latino community, is specifically the immigrant community, doesn't often go to the various institutions and say, this is what's happening to me. And so that's part of our work, and part of our ability is because we have trust with different institutions. We can be the buffer between what it is that the survivor needs and what it is that the system needs in order for them to heal or get to the next step or take care of whatever it is they need to take care of.
Thank you so much for clarifying that. Thank you, Ruth, for coming here. And you are going to leave us now. Rebecca, you will stick around. And we'll be right back to talk about community outreach for survivors. Welcome back. Now we are continuing our conversation on domestic violence and ways the East Los Angeles Women's Center can help. And now joining us is Jazmin Flores. You are the center's lead promotora, or community outreach person. All right, so how does community outreach work?
Please understand that they're not alone. There's a lot of resources, a lot of organizations like ours that they can provide information, resources. Please call us. They can call us at our hotline number 24/7. We have a bilingual line, so please, they're not alone.
We have a chat line as well.
We also have a chat line.
You can walk into the center. You can walk, if you're anywhere near LA General, you can walk into our offices at the Wellness Center or to the emergency department. Just request to speak to an advocate. Somebody there will call us. If you run into a promotora, there's a lot of points of entry.
When you're out, does anyone ever come up to you and say, I need help?
All the time, we have a survivor in every place we go.
You wanted to add something?
Yeah, you know, it's incredible. And that's the reason why it's so important that every single person who works at our organization goes through training. And whether you're a volunteer or you're a staff person, every single person from the time you walk in the door all the way through the organization, you're going to find that we're called advocates, and we all have state certifications on crisis intervention, because what happens is the second somebody figures out what it is that we do, or that we are an advocate, or that we have resources or information that's going to help them or a family member, they disclose. You know, and on our end, we need to be sure that the advocates that are out in the community are prepared and have the ability to provide the answers and resources or support. And not only that, when we schedule events that we know are going to be triggering, we always have therapists present, because we know there's going to be somebody in the audience that's going to need some reassurance, you know, some words of encouragement or immediate services at that point.
Do you ever ask about immigration status?
You know, the only time that it comes up is when a survivor is in the process of trying to get legal documentation in place. But is it a requirement to receive assistance at our organization? Absolutely not. We're very lucky that in terms of the services that we offer, they're not contingent on a person's immigration status.
Can I add a little bit of that? Immigration is like the biggest issue why a person doesn't request services.
Oh, right.
Because they are afraid.
They
are afraid for immigration.
Yes,
they are afraid of the police. They are afraid of social services, because they think if they report domestic violence, sexual assault, or any kind of violence, the child are going to remove away.
It also comes up, thank you for reminding me, it also comes up when we are speaking to survivors. That's one of the reasons why they don't leave, because the person perhaps that is causing them harm is dangling that over their heads, right? If you leave me, I'm going to call INS, or I'm going to call ICE, or I'm going to call whoever. And so that's why I said, as part of the legal process, you know, they're like, I can't leave him because he's going to report me. And so we're like, no, we have a lot of community partners who are well-versed in this type of scenario, and they can help you figure out what your options are, but that is not the reason to not leave someone, so yes.
And that's where the promotoras go with information and provide education. And domestic violence is a crime, so they can be like under the BOCA, the victims of crime.
Victims of
crimes,
and
yeah. They can fix their immigration status in this. Because they in the violent relationship.
Mm-hmm. This has been so informative. I'm really glad that we, are able to tell people that help is available. Thank you, Rebecca Melendez, Jazmin Flores, and Ruth Rivera, who was here earlier, of the East Los Angeles Women's Center.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
And that is going to do it for this edition of LA Currents. I'm Anita Bennett. Thank you for watching.